welcome to Beyond the Pulpit. My name is Derek Wadley. I'm joined here by Dan Rude. Say hi, Dan.
What's up, everyone?
Luke Hookey.
Hey, guys.
And we are joined today by Tim Laehn. So say hi, Tim.
Welcome. Hey, guys.
Welcome.
And Tim has actually just finished our pastoral residency. And if you're at the member meeting last night, when this is released, if you were at the member meeting, you'll know that we are recommending Tim as a pastor at Walnut Creek Church. And we're really excited about that. So we thought it'd be good to have him on so that we can get to know him even better.
Oh, yeah.
So Tim, welcome. Tell us a little bit about who are you?
Who is Tim Laehn?
What a deep question to start. So yes, I am Tim Laehn. I have been with Walnut Creek going on 20 years.
Wow.
Started back in campus fellowship at Drake University. I think around 2005, 2006 timeframe.
Hey.
And I've been part of the church ever since. My wife, Bo, also has actually been part of the church even longer than I have been. And she actually was one of the first college staff residents, I guess. One of the first to go on staff about 20 years ago.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
It's been fun just to serve the church together. We've been married just had our 14th anniversary in August. And we have four kids. Penelope is about to turn 13. August is 11. Dahlia is 9. And Flora will be 3 in November.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
That's fun time.
Yeah,
they're great.
It's good.
Teenager.
Oh, I know.
Here we go.
We are there.
Yes. You feel real old when that happens. I have almost 3 now, and I'm like, no, 4. I have 3. Yeah, 3 now. Right now. I can't even keep track.
I know. It's great.
Well, having a teenager and a 3-year-old at the same time is also interesting.
It's not that big, though, right?
It's not similar. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Great.
They both want things.
Yeah. Yep. So great. So that's good. So that's Tim in a nutshell. You know everything you need to know about it. So there's been this process that you've gone through over the course of a number of months and maybe even a year or so in order to get to this point. And so I think it'd probably be good if we reminded people, what is the process for becoming a pastor at Walnut Creek Church? So Dan, how does someone become a pastor?
Yeah, so that's a great question. That's something that we have been considering for a long time, and something that we value is qualified elders to lead the church. It's a big part of our identity as Walnut Creek Church. Is we want to have elders who really love God and love the saints and shepherd the saints. And so the recognition process is something that's very important to us. And so here are some of the steps. First, we want to make sure someone's a Christian. That's a baseline. If you're not a Christian, you shouldn't be a pastor. And then you become a member.
Yep.
And then we're not going to have any pastors who are not members of the church. And then you need to have some experience as a ministry leader. So that's leading a community group or leading one of the various ministries in the church. And then you can take the eldership class. The eldership class is almost a year long. There's a number of people that are still going through that eldership class for this year. And so we try to offer one of those classes every year or every other year. And then there's a doctrinal test and a character assessment test. And so you go through that material, and then the elders review that material. And then we added just recently a pastoral residency.
Yep.
And we felt like this was a really important step in the process, just to help the saints get familiar with the people we are considering for eldership. And that I think it's a 9-month program. And Tim, you are one of the guinea pigs, along with Eric and Caleb and Trailblazer. That's right. That's right. And then after the pastoral residency, which you just completed, then we make a recommendation to the church, to the saints at a member meeting about eldership. And then lastly, there's the recognition. There's the recognition of elders within the body. And we want to provide opportunities for the saints to know who their elders are and be part of the process and offer feedback. It's a very normal piece of the process, or normal part of the process, to recommend someone to the church. And then after they are recommended, then a lot of people will come forward very supportive, but then some people will come forward. Sometimes they have concerns or questions. And so we want to provide the church an opportunity to weigh in
and to affirm
who the elders are. And so we are at the step right now of recommending Tim to the church to be an elder of the church, which is really exciting.
It's exciting.
It's a great thing.
Yeah, that's great. And so, Tim, that's a lot of many steps that you've gone through, which I think is good. It's been a value add to the life of the church. But how's that experience been for you as you've gone through everything?
It's been it's been great. I mean, I've really enjoyed the experience of getting to attend pastors' meetings and being at all the services on Sunday mornings, kind of going through the kind of shadowing of the different roles of honest what it takes to put together a service on Sunday morning. And then also I think just the getting to know people better, members of the church, by being at all three services, has been really helpful to, put faces to names. And I think, as the pastors at the pastors meetings, we've been praying through the member list. And so I think all of that has been really just helpful, I think, to understand what it looks like to lead and shepherd and be an elder of a church. I think the pastors' meetings, seeing how the pastors are, how they talk through things and make decisions, and I think I've been really encouraged by just seeing how everybody, all of the pastors, want to really uphold the Word of God in decision making and have unity across the elder team. And so I think there'd be so many times where it would be easier just to kind of whether it's just kind of ignore something or sweep something under the rug. Like that's not the attitude of the pastors. I think they really want to do what's right by God's word, and also for the members of the church to disciple and shepherd well. And I think that has been really encouraging to be part of and just witness and be able to kind of get involved in some of that.
Yeah. It's been awesome having you in the meetings. I think just your perspective, it is helpful even to the point of, bivocational pastor is what you'll be bivocational. So working full-time, pastoring on the side.
Side hustle.
No, I think having that perspective is really helpful, because a lot of us are more in a full-time position, or like in Derek's, you're working for the church full-time. And so having that perspective is beneficial to the team, and being able to make decisions and navigate the variety of issues that come up in shepherding the church. And so I know it's been a blessing to have you in those meetings and on the team. And so I'm excited in moving forward, for you to be in a spot of officially, I guess, recognized as an elder pastor in the church. So
thanks.
Be good.
And our hope is to build out the bivocational pastoral team. I mean, we're one pastoral team, but
many parts.
Many moving parts. But there are a number of people who are full-time in pastoral ministry, and then there are people who are working full-time within the church, providing a lot of oversight and encouragement in a variety of areas, but not directly in shepherding the church. And then there are people who work part-time for the church. And I think something we talked about several years ago is just the need and the opportunity to have men who are not employed by the church. They're in the trenches of ministry and loving their families and working hard at their job, raising their kids. We've talked about the opportunity to bring someone like yourself, Tim, into the eldership team, and then hopefully build that out more. And because sometimes when you're in full-time ministry, you can get little bit too zoned in on what we're doing, and you don't understand what it's like to be on the other side of you. What is it like? What is our leadership like? To a guy who's working hard and loving his family, working a job, and so there's a lot of other benefits, but that's one of the benefits is just to help rounding out our perspective as elders and helping to shepherd the saints. So we're excited that you'll be serving in that. Lord willing, you'll be serving in that capacity.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I was actually talking to a brother at church, I think just this last Sunday, about he was asking a little bit about the residency. And I think what he had said was something to the effect of, I like that the church is normalizing kind of bivocational pastoring and having, people who have a full-time job who are also a pastor. And so I think, I was just thinking about the Apostle Paul was kind of the original bivocational pastor, right?
You're in good company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm the Paul of Walnut Creek by any means.
But you're not saying.
Good point.
Yes.
But I think, it wasn't by necessity or coincidence that Paul, was a tent maker. I think it was a very strategic decision, to as a way to spread the gospel and plant more churches and reach the lost. So I think there's precedent for it in the Bible, and I think that this brother I was talking to could see that and was excited about this kind of idea of having a team of bivocational pastors in the future. So
and I think, correct me, but I think it helps kind of envision other men. Oh, I could do that, because I think sometimes when everybody is full time or in more of that vein, the sacrifices are going to be a lot. It's a lot more, and so I think that becomes a thing where it's like, wait a minute, do I have to be full time to be a pastor? And no, and I think we want to continue to showcase, if you will, it's like that pastors can be bivocational, and so we want to continue to build that out. And I think it gives a vision potentially for other guys like in that same boat.
For sure. Yeah, and I guess I didn't really when we did the intro, I didn't really talk about my full-time job, but I do. So I have a job for a financial services company based in Madison, Wisconsin. I lead a creative services team, so a little team of writers and designers. Then we create marketing collateral and for our business, so for our sales team, and a lot of presentations for our executives and leaders, and things like that. So and I work from home, which is nice. I have a pretty flexible schedule, which also helps with being able to, attend pastors' meetings and that kind of thing. But yeah, so that's a full-time job that keeps me busy.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. And so then outside of your full-time job, before you stepped into this process of becoming an elder, you were already doing a lot in the life of the church, serving the church, serving the saints. So what are some of those things that you have been doing in the life of the church over the last several years?
Sure. So I've been leading a community group for
eternity.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe 18 of the last 20 years, something like that. Which has been a huge blessing. And, it's been, for the last several years, our community group has remained pretty steady, consistent, and have awesome friendships and relationships within our community group. We multiplied at one point a few years ago, but we've kind of remained one big community group in some ways. We do a lot of things together in our kind of our social activities and fellowship. So been leading in that capacity. And then Bo and I also have been part of the premarital counseling team. So we've had the blessing of being able to do premarital counseling with probably 5 or 6 couples at this point. We've been doing it for the last at least two years or so. And prior to that, we did re-engage and also facilitated a few re-engage groups. So that's been a wonderful opportunity for Bo and I to work on our own marriage, as we kind of help others prepare for marriage or work on theirs. So And again, another great way to get to know people better.
Totally.
And and then, served in kids ministry for a while, a few years back when we had a Saturday night service. I was one of the Saturday night kids class teachers at one point. And, I don't know. I think those are kind of the main things.
Pretty involved. Welcome Center. Helping us kind of coordinate and track down volunteers for that.
Right. Yeah. Kind of
often there.
Right. Yeah. The 9:15 service. I guess I am the organizer of greeters and Welcome Center people for that service. So yeah. Yep.
Cool. That's great. Yeah. So it's a real exciting thing to have you on the team, in a much more formal way to get your perspective. There is a lot that you will bring to the table, not being kind of bogged down in like the weeds of even the logistics of the church by being able to go out and work somewhere else and all of that. It brings a very unique perspective, and so I think we're going to be really lucky to have that.
Mm-hmm.
And we keep I think jumping around a few different words. We keep saying pastor or elder, and that might be a little bit confusing because there are a lot of churches where people who preach the most frequently, like Dan, Luke, you would be considered pastors, and then the rest of us would be considered elders, who are
true.
But that's not what we mean when we say those words. Right. We're not talking about two different things, are we?
No. So that's a really good question. Someone asked me about elders recently, and they said, "Are pastors elders?" And that's the question you're getting at. And we understand the local church to have 2 offices, or maybe 3, depending on how you talk to. But the 2 offices that I think most people agree on is that there's the office of elder, pastor, overseer. And so it's the same office. It's one office. So an elder is a pastor, pastor is an elder. It's the same position. So, and some people say, well, why don't you go by elder? Why don't we just use the term elder?
Because I'm not Mormon.
Yeah. It
looks weird on name tags.
It looks weird on name tags. And the Mormons, they've kind of ruined that word for a lot of people because they're, when their missionaries go out, they'll say elder, whatever, elder Mormon
18.
Yeah. Whatever. 18. So sometimes when you use the word elder in some context, it gets confusing. Like, what are you talking about? So pastors is better understood, I think, in our culture when you use that office broadly. So there's elder, the office is elder, pastor, overseer, same person, same office, and then there are deacons. So elders and deacons. And so that's something that we really value as a church. It's a term that the term is a plurality of leaders or plurality of elders, which is the idea that there aren't like the real elders and then the lesser elders, and then the real elders call the shots, and the lesser elders, they just kind of go along. They're yes men. We don't want that at all. We want there to be a genuine plurality within the elder team.
Equal seat at the table.
Equal seat at the table. So one man, one vote, regardless of who you are. One man, one vote. And so it's a big deal to recognize an elder when you try to take eldership seriously, because that means that we're giving Tim and other men who are recognized a seat at the table. And Tim, your opinion is just like my opinion, and just like Luke's opinion, just like Derek's opinion. Like that's the way we want to operate, where we see each other as brothers laboring together, and it's a big deal.
Yep,
it's exciting.
Yeah.
So the term gets thrown around. I mean, elders, pastors, those are the 2 terms you hear the most.
Right.
We don't typically use overseer.
Or bishop.
Although
bishop. There was a shadow campaign for Luke to become the first bishop.
Bishop, Duke.
As long as I get a funny hat.
That's right.
That's all I want.
Yes.
That's all I want.
Great.
We can arrange that.
We can make that happen. Great. So that's a little bit about our process, and it's a little bit about Tim. And so Tim, thanks for being here with us today. if you are listening and or watching this podcast, you have the opportunity to get to know Tim more by doing this thing where you walk up to him and you say, "Hey, Tim, my name is whoever. Tell me about yourself," and you can ask him some questions. And so Tim is at all of our services. He's around.
Yeah.
He's friendly. And so I'm sure he'll avail himself to that end. And if you have any other questions about the process of eldership or anything at the church, find one of the pastors, ask us, talk to us. We'd love to talk to you about that. So just as a reminder, Tim Laehn has been recommended to you as one of the next pastors of Walnut Creek Church. And so over the course of the next few weeks, reach out to us if you want to express any thoughts or questions, concerns that you might have, or to support him, just to
give your thumbs up.
Give your thumbs up, 1 or 2 thumbs. It's up to you. But yeah, thanks again, Tim, for being here with us, and I look forward to having you on the team.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.